Hey guys, welcome back to another Modern Warfare 2 video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some recent drama that kind of popped up on Twitter. And now this is a clip, basically, of pro players refusing, supposedly, to play Modern Warfare 2. And I thought it was very interesting. You know, it kind of generated a lot of traffic, so I thought I'd bring it to you guys' attention here. So here we go. This is a tweet from Warzone GQ. So it's a COD Modern Warfare 2 news. According to Hex, pros have access to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 but don't want to play. And then he quotes it here. And so before I play this though, I mean, let's talk about it just a little bit. So just the context of, you know, pro players not wanting to play Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. I mean, it's kind of interesting. We've heard some different things from pro players who have already played the game. I mean, recently we heard they played, I want to say it was like 4 multiplayer maps and they only liked 2 of them. So, I mean, it's kind of standard though. I mean, you know, pro players aren't going to like every single map that they play. Some maps are better than others inherently, and so for them to, you know, only like half of the maps, it's alright. But, you know, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, well, is that really a great indicator of how the game is turning out? Is because, okay, the pro players only liked 2 of 4 maps that they were able to play? Probably not. You know, is that maybe just they only selected, you know, potentially 2 of the best maps, and those are the 2 best maps that they really liked? Possibly. But does that also mean that, okay, you know, given that, are we actually going to, you know, have 6 of like 12 maps or 8 of the 16 maps are going to be fantastic maps that the pros like because that's what the ratio is? Probably not either. So, I don't know, it's kind of one of those things. Also, it's interesting to note here is that, you know, is Modern Warfare 2 going to follow kind of the same life cycle that Modern Warfare 2019 did? Because for Modern Warfare 2019, I mean, let's be honest, the competitive scene was pretty much just a giant snooze fest for that year, and it kind of sucked. Like, Cold War kind of brought it back, and Cold War was at least interesting to watch. You know, the community, I feel like, came back more with Cold War. They watched champs, they watched a lot of the, like, competitions, and, you know, basically, like, competitive in Cold War was really interesting and honestly really fun. Modern Warfare 2019, not so much. I mean, for a lot of the community didn't like playing multiplayer, and they also didn't like watching competitive, because competitive is a whole different thing. Plus, it also, I feel like, kind of sucked, and I know that some pro players even kind of spoke out about this a little bit, is that it sucked for them, because yeah, they had to, you know, play Modern Warfare 2019 competitively, so they, you know, hopped on and started training, started playing multiplayer for that game. Well, then in March of 2020 is when Warzone dropped. And so Warzone came out, but these pro players were still like obligated to compete and play in multiplayer. You know, they could hop over and they could play Warzone like in their free time, but, you know, it wasn't like their main thing. They couldn't really focus on it because they had to stay on top of their game and stay, you know, the best they can be at multiplayer. So a lot of pro players were kind of frustrated by that, being like, dude, like, Warzone is the newest, like, greatest thing. It's really fun, and they actually really enjoyed playing it, but they were, you know, still like contractually obligated to play Modern Warfare 2019 multiplayer instead and compete at that. So they're like, you know, they can only play Warzone like on like stream later on after they're done playing for the day and they're after training and you know, doing whatever else, money 8s, all the different things they do. And yeah, I know that frustrated a lot of pro players. So is that going to be the same thing this year with Modern Warfare 2? You know, we've heard a lot that Modern Warfare 2 is going to be similar in a lot of ways to Modern Warfare 2019. I mean, it makes sense. It's a sequel. It's built on the same engine from the same developers. So yeah, it makes sense that it's going to be played out probably very similar to Modern Warfare 2019. So here we go. Without further ado, let's show you guys this clip.
Be playing, even though I can play right now.
You don't cop me a code?
Yeah, I got you on the
Yeah,
code. You
got
can play
me?
right now.
That us?
Yeah, bro. Elite, all their accounts have it.
Oh, shit.
Of what?
Yeah, because
Modern Warfare
it's
2.
like they just
Yeah.
fucking did it from the back end.
They don't even want to play it. They're literally, I'm not playing this shit. I don't want to play it.
That bad? Can I get it on the back end?
That's what I said. Can I make some fucking videos? Ever heard of the fucking? You ever heard of YouTube and what?
So Hex is talking here saying that, you know, the pro players, they have access to Modern Warfare 2. They have the game. They have Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer on their league PCs. They can play it, and they, you know, have been playing it. But then he's like, yeah, you want to play it? You can go play it. Like, we don't want to play that. He says they don't want to play it. I don't want to play it. And then Big Timer says, what, that bad? So out of context like that, yeah, it sounds really bad, but it is kind of important to note here is what Hex said at the very end. Hex was like, hey, can I make some YouTube videos about this? And yeah, that's probably why. Yeah, they can hop on and they can play Modern Warfare 2 right now, but why would they when they can't stream the game They can't make videos of it. They can't even really hop on Twitter and like freely discuss it and be like, hey, da 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 da, like this is what's going on with the game. Da, da, da. They can basically just say, hey, I played Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. It's a good game. You know, oh, I have high hopes to the competitive season. You know, they can't probably really share a whole lot of details about it. So yeah, I mean, I feel like to anybody, especially content creators like this, especially legacy ones like Hex, where, you know, that's their whole career is by playing the game, streaming them, making YouTube videos, and, you know, hanging out with friends and sharing it with the community. Not being able to do that is probably pretty, like, honestly kind of painful for them, and kind of kills any desire to play the game, because it's like, yeah, you want to hop in, you want to play the game, play the newest thing, but you can't share any of that. So it's like, okay, then why would I hop on? Like, I could hop on and just like screw around, you know, I can hop on and just play and try and get better. But if I'm not streaming or I'm not making a video, I'm sure they probably feel no desire to do that. And then he followed up with another tweet. Worth noting that this was before Champs, but Big Timer says that bad, so he had the same thought process. Well, then Hex actually hopped on here on Twitter, and he says, thought process of getting clicks. All good, I get in the name of the game, y'all good. So obviously Hex is here calling him out and being like, bruh, like this is kind of clickbait. And then he says, you know, that was my genuine reaction when hearing it, to be honest, as well as Big Timers. Never crossed my mind until I posted it that it was before Champs. But in all honesty, hope it's a good year and pros can enjoy the game. So, yeah, I mean, it seems a little baity here. I mean, obviously Hex comes in here and is like, bruh, like, no, that's not at all the context here. But it still begs the question, though, you know, like, yeah, pro players might not be refusing to play multiplayer in, like, the same aspect and in the way it might come off right now. But it begs the question, are pro players actually going to enjoy Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer? Because like I said, Modern Warfare 2019 was a snooze fest for competitive. And if, you know, we have pro players basically having to play MW2 for 2 years for a competitive season going, you know, from end of this year in through all of next year, and then what, the year after that again for 2 years? Like, it better be a very solid and fun year for competitive, not only for the players to keep like their mental sanity before, you know, the next Black Ops game comes out, but also for the fans, you know, like it has to be entertaining to watch. And so this is where I feel like, you know, it'd be interesting to see how Warzone could play out here, and how, you know, maybe for year 2 or something like that, they could move away from Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer and just do competitive Warzone or something like that. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's how a lot of the Warzone tournaments were, and, you know, for like a lot of the pro players, there was almost like higher tournament winnings for some of these Warzone tournaments than there were for just Modern Warfare 2019 multiplayer ones. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy, though. It was a weird time. And so I'm sure a lot of the pro players are feeling that as well. Now with Warzone 2 coming out, they're like, dude, really? We got a new Warzone game coming out. It's going to be probably pretty fun. Community's going to be there. Like, the streaming community's there, as well as like YouTube and stuff. And then they're going to be forced to continue to play multiplayer. And, you know, who's to say they might not enjoy it? So, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's kind of an open-ended question, but it just kind of begs asking it at this point in time and putting it out there. So what do you guys think? What is your guys' take on this? Let me know in the comments down below. Yeah, it kind of sounds bad out of context, but like I said, it begs the question, will it be a good year for competitive? Like I said, is it going to be a good year for the players? And is it also going to be a good year for the fans watching it? Because, I mean, who cares if it's like a good game for the players and, you know, it's like a fun game for them. If it's just a snooze fest watching it, then nobody's going to tune in. And that's like, okay, cool. And he basically killed off, you know, competitive for at least 2 years. So, yeah, what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.